everybody, happy fall. I can't believe it is October already. The time has just flown by, but we've been so busy out in the garden prepping and planting and all of that. So I thought I would make a really quick video today talking a little bit about everything that we're going to be doing this month. So everything we're going to be talking about today is included in our From Seed to Spoon app, and it will give you exact planting dates based on your location. So it'll take all of the guesswork out of all of this, and you'll know exactly if you can plant it now and what you can plant and what you should plant it next to. And if there's a pest handling it, what is that pest? Like, it'll help walk you through so many different things and help you identify what's going on if you have a problem, and also let you manage and track your garden and plants and all of that. So make sure to download that app as well and follow along with us. If you have not grown in the fall before, you definitely need to try it out because it is the best time to grow, hands down. It is so much easier than the spring. You have less pests to deal with. You typically are just going to be having an easier time of things, and you don't have the hot temperatures of spring and summer. Things are starting to cool down, and it's just it's a lot better experience. So I recommend, especially for beginners starting out, just start a garden this October. And a lot of the plants that you can start in the cool season, a lot of those are going to be the easier things too. So what I always recommend, especially in October too, this is the perfect time to start out any of your greens. So things like lettuce, spinach, kale, Swiss chard, arugula. I mean, I could go on and on, but all of those leafy greens would be an amazing addition to your fall garden. And especially like things like lettuce and arugula, those are really fast growers too. And there's also varieties of spinach that's like little baby spinach. So you can get started with some of those too, even if you don't have a lot of time left. So we use our seeding square whenever we're planting out those lettuce seeds and spinach and things like that, just to make it a little bit easier to space them out, and we have appropriate spacing for all of them. Now, we don't always do that. Sometimes we simply just toss seeds and just bury them slightly with your hand. Now, they're obviously going to be a lot thicker that way. You will have a lot more use of your space, but you will have to be thinning them down as you go, which is fine if you're going to be eating them. So a lot of the times we'll do that too, and we'll just simply harvest them at the base and harvest all of them, and that way we'll leave the appropriate amount, like per square foot, as we go through and harvest them, and let some of them go to maturity, eat some of them as they are baby leaves. Root crops are also something that is really great to plant out in October. So this includes things like radish, which is again super fast growing. So if you don't have a lot of time, that is one really great one to squeeze in. Then there's also carrots and turnips and parsnips. Those are all amazing options. And I will say too, if you are like me and you find that those carrot seeds, they are super tiny, they can be difficult to only put one seed in wherever you need to do them. And instead of having to go through and thin them out, I found this seed tape that actually makes it so much simpler. You simply just lay it out along the soil and bury the seed tape just a little bit, and it's already appropriately spaced out. You don't have to mess with the tiny seeds or anything. It just makes it so much simpler. So if you are like me and have trouble with the small seeds, or if you have kids who are wanting to be planting and helping out with you, that's an amazing option for you. And then, of course, I want to mention peas, because peas are one of our favorite things to grow. It is so good, so tasty. They hardly make it into the house whenever we grow them, but you still have time. There's several different varieties that you can grow, and some of them are faster than others. Some, they're dwarf varieties. There's patio varieties as well. So if you don't have a lot of space, or if you're container gardening, you can get one of those options, and you definitely still have time to do that pretty much wherever you are. Now, I will mention peas will require a trellis. There are like a handful of patio varieties that sometimes you can get away with just like with just a little bit of support, but typically you're going to need some sort of structure for the peas to climb up. So I have this bean tower right here. It's covered with beans right now, but I have this bean tower right here that I sometimes use for peas as well. And then I also have this cattle panel back here that I plant peas along. So again, right now it has like tomatoes and cucumbers, things like that growing up it, but I'm going to be pulling those any day now because a lot of them are struggling right now, as you can see. But I'm going to be replacing those with our peas coming very soon. And then of course I have to mention garlic, because garlic is the best planted in fall. So it will require, most all garlic will require to have a period where it freezes, so that way it can grow appropriately in the springtime. So it is really important to get your garlic into the ground before your ground freezes. And pretty much as long as your ground is workable, you can still plant garlic. So there have been years where we've planted garlic in December because our ground is still workable, so we plant it then. But it is something that is really good to be grown in the fall. So definitely recommend getting that, because there's nothing better than fresh garlic from your garden. And there's so many different unique varieties that you can grow too. It's really fun. And then of course I can't leave out brassicas. Now it might be a little late to plant these out depending on where you live, but if you get transplants, you can definitely still get them in the ground. And there are definitely some brassicas, some broccolis that will go faster than others. So whenever I'm planting out like a broccoli and I have a short amount of time, I always make sure that I do what's called a sprouting broccoli or a broccolini. Those ones will go a lot faster for you, and they will produce a lot of like these smaller side shoots instead of the general, what you're used to, like that huge head of lettuce. You'll get a bunch of little side shoots, which for me, I like it better personally. It tastes amazing. It's a lot easier to do too. And I get a lot more, I feel like, and I love eating the leaves too. The leaves of broccoli are edible too. And if you saute those, it tastes so good. So I want to make sure that I mentioned that for you. So if you're wanting any sort of spring blooming bulbs, that is the perfect time to plant now as well. So things like tulips, daffodils, those ones right there are going to be really great planted now, because just like with garlic, they're going to require a period of a freeze in the winter time in order to grow appropriately. So it'll do a whole lot better for you planting them in the fall, and then in the spring you will be rewarded with so many blooms. It'll be amazing and gorgeous. You'll be so glad that you put in a little bit of effort to plant them out this fall. So if you are going to be having some space in your garden that you're not going to be utilizing this fall or winter, it's a really good idea to still plant it out with what's called cover crops. So these cover crops are essentially just growing and taking the space of what plant would have been there. So it helps to protect the soil from erosion, helps suppress any weeds. It helps to give nutrients to the soil a lot too, depending on which ones you choose. There's a lot of really great benefits of cover crops. And I do have a lot of videos about cover crops and their benefits. I'll link to a couple in the description for you. But I definitely recommend doing that, even if it's just a pot or something too. We typically always leave something growing all year long, so that way we are protecting that soil and not losing as much, because we do get lots of windy days, because like I said, we're in Oklahoma. So all of those plants that we talked about today are going to be ones that are cool season. So they will thrive in the cooler temperatures that we hopefully have coming ahead. But I will say that some things that we do in case of extreme weather, and just to help protect them too, because they don't really like extreme like fluctuations. So if we have like extreme heat one day and then we suddenly have a frost, they won't like that very much. So we try to go through and protect our plants as much as possible. Now, a very simple thing that you can do is simply mulch. So just throw a little bit of pine shavings, wood chips, dried leaves. I mean, there's so many different options of things that you can mulch with. And I definitely recommend doing something at the base of your plants, because it will really help to insulate those roots. Now, other things you can do, which I'm sure as I've been walking around my garden, you've kind of been seeing a few of these hinged hoop houses that I have right now. So I don't have anything, any sort of covers on top of them right now, but they will be having a plastic sheeting on there whenever the temperatures start to drop. I just simply place a sheeting or a blanket. I have a bunch of different like frost blankets, things like that, that I can just simply place over top of these, and they will be good to go for the winter. We've grown things all year long with these, which is incredible for us to be having some fresh greens like all year long. It's incredible. And they're really easy too, like these ones especially, because these are just on hinges, so I can simply just prop it open and look inside and harvest if I want to. So I will say, if there's any warm days and you do, or the sun is out a lot and you do have that covering on it, you do want to make sure to prop it up so that way you get some wind circulation in there. But it will definitely help on your cool nights, or if you have any cold weather, extreme weather, things like that. Makes a huge difference. And I do have some tutorials on how we made ours. If you guys are interested in that, I'll pop that in the description below. So I know a lot of people will probably want to grow some other things, or if you are in an area where you can't grow everything that we talked about today, there's still options for you. There's a lot of things that you can do indoors. Like, of course, you can always do microgreens. Like, we do microgreens year round pretty much, because we always want to have either some sort of cilantro or basil going year round, and cilantro likes the cold, basil likes the warmth. So we pretty much always have one of those going whenever it's the off season, because we grow it outside too. So we have all sorts of different microgreens growing, which microgreens are very simple to grow. Again, I'm not going to go into depth about it in this video, but I do have lots of videos. I've done lots of workshops about microgreens as well. So make sure you check one of those out. I'll link to them down below if you want to know more about how to grow your own microgreens. But those are, again, something that you can have green year round and add some extra nutrients. It's really great to have. And one thing too, that this is going to be our first year doing, is we discovered these kitchen minis from Park Seed, which are, there's these kitchen mini tomatoes and peppers, which are awesome. So I've been actually growing these inside like all year long so far, and they are really cool. So I'm growing them in these 1 gallon smart pots, and they are just thriving. They're maybe about a foot tall, but they give me so many peppers and tomatoes, these little tiny cherry tomatoes. It's awesome. And I'm going to be having these growing year round inside. So this is something that I'm going to be doing the first time now, because I started these last probably January or February. So I'm really excited to be having fresh tomatoes and peppers, like even in the dead of the winter. It's going to be so exciting. So I will definitely share more about that for you guys and how that goes for me, but I want to share that as an option too. So if you are like me and you are going to miss those summer veggies, there's still a way you can do it, and it doesn't take up a lot of space at all. It is so amazing. So this was definitely not the be all and end all list of all the things that you can plant. There's still a lot of things that I didn't even mention today, but I would love to hear from you guys and see what you guys are going to be doing this October. And hopefully you guys are going to be growing something. I would be excited to hear what you're going to be doing, because it's amazing just to be outside and to be able to get the sunlight and just be able to see some green. It always helps me out so much just to be out here in the garden. I love it. So I highly encourage, if you guys are able to, grow something. If you can't grow something outside, grow inside. Do one of the things that we talked about inside. You won't regret it, for sure. And make sure you check out the From Seed to Spoon app, because it will give you exact planting dates based on your location. So you'll know exactly what things you can plant and when for your area, because it'll base it off of your closest weather station and give you exact planting dates. So that'll definitely help you a lot. And I will say, a lot of the things we talked about too today, like we have like the kitchen minis and things like that. So we have like everything that Park Seed carries, like the kitchen minis, the smart pots, the seeding square even, things like that. You can all get through the app as well. And we have a discount code. And if you are a premium subscriber, you get free shipping too, which is huge. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that for you guys as well. And if you have any questions at all, please leave them below. And like I said, we do workshops a lot too. So we do workshops every Tuesday where we talk about a different topic. So here in like a week or so, I will be doing one all about October. So if you guys have questions, come join us for that and pop a question in there and we'll answer it live. And also too, with all those workshops, we do giveaways too. So we do giveaways based on, we give away like premium membership for the From Seed to Spoon app. We give away Park Seed seeds sometimes, smart pots. I mean, lots of things. It's amazing. So I hope to see you all there, and thank you all for joining me today.